In this video, I take my accelerated flight student Gus out for a short flight in my Super Cub to experience flying a tailwheel aircraft. All right, today we're going to take the Cub out and we're going to do a little flying around, taking out one of my students, Gus, out to get a little experience in flying in a Super Cub. So I'm just on the rudder pedals here for this. You do find with these planes, you do a little bit combinations, actually heel brakes.
Oh.
There's actually heel brakes on this stuff. But right now I'm just using mostly my rudder.
So it's mostly aerodynamic turning, even at slow speeds.
Yep, that's just all rudder, no braking. Now I always like to, when I come up here to the whole short, I'll position myself. I'm using a little bit of brake, a little bit of right brake, differential braking, so I can see what's out there. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, departing runway 8 with a straight out departure to the east, Laconia. I don't see anybody out there, you kind of keep your eyes out.
Eyes are open.
So I'm going to be pushing forward a little bit on this stick to get us up their tail up quicker. I don't really have to, but I do.
So you have to get the tail off the ground before you can
It'll
rotate.
come off on its own, but I'll just help it along. Full power. Engine gauge is green. I'll push forward the stick just barely. Airspeed's alive. I'm going to take us up to about 2,500 feet. Can you see any of the instruments here when I'm up here, or is it hard to see? If you can see
I can see the RPM. I can't see the attitude indicator. I can see a little bit of the. Right now, I can see. Yeah.
I'm kind of getting out of the way, so. Yeah, you see this point here, and this. You see some houses kind of out there at the very edge of the point. My house is kind of right before it. I'll show you how we do a steep turn. But pre-maneuvering check first, and clearing turns. Both 3,000. Engines are good. Lights I'm going to keep on. So if we do a steep turn in this plane, it's very much the same. I don't know if you can see the tick marks, 10, 20, 30. The little tick mark is 45. We'll roll into it, add some power within the first 30 degrees, roll all the way to 45, and as we do, we pull back. And then we look outside and just kind of have something on the cowling trace this. And all we're doing is push forward or back on the stick.
Final runway, stop, go, Laconia.
If I see too much earth, I'll pull back just a little bit. Start my roll at half the bank angle, there it is. And I bring my power back so I don't balloon up. You want to try it?
Sure. I'll leave my mic plugged in for this.
Okay. Your flight controls.
All right. My flight controls.
Your flight controls. Just kind of work the rudder pedals and the yoke. And let's go ahead and turn left here. Just gently turn to the left so we can get away from the mountains here.
All right.
And your throttle's right there.
Just getting a feel for you can't see any of the gauges, so
I know it's
pretty funny.
I'll try to lean that way so you can see the six-pack. They're a little slow, so add more power and just kind of hold your altitude. So you just kind of push forward on the stick a little bit so you don't climb.
Traffic.
And now your airspeed gets safer.
Be a right turn.
And this is in miles per hour. All right, now you can bring that power back to about 2,200.
Come on, traffic, Skyhawk 78 Romeo, left downwind 10, simulated engine out, fall out.
And when you're ready, let's have you do a steep turn to the left. That's 10, 20, 30, there's 45. And you can be very graceful going into this. You don't have to be really hard at it. You're starting
I can barely see it, but I'll try. There we go.
Add a little power, roll, start to pull back just a little bit as you do that.
Laconia traffic. Cherokee 082 is lining up for 08.
Doing good. Pull, 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 just a little bit more back. Hear that engine speed, the airspeed getting quicker?
Yeah.
And go ahead and start your roll out and bring your power. Roll out to level wings and bring your power back. This way you won't balloon at the last second. That wasn't bad.
Wow, it's an interesting feel with the stick.
It is. Definitely different than the yoke.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
You want to try one to the right?
Oh, mile traffic, 78
All right,
Romeo,
when you're
left
ready,
base,
add
10,
some power,
full
roll
mile.
into it, and as you're rolling into it, pull back on the stick a little bit so you don't lose altitude. Just a touch more power. Pull, pull, pull.
Laconia traffic,
More right rudder, right rudder.
08, and
Step on the right rudder.
traffic, insight. Okay.
Pull, pull, pull. Let me help you step on the rudder a little bit.
Oh, you really have to step on the rudder. Wow.
Yep, there it is. All right, start your roll out. So you're losing a little bit of altitude in that
4 mile and
because you
20
weren't
Romeo going around.
because of all those left turning tendencies. You also have
Wow.
precession displaying. You need a lot of right rudder when you're turning right.
Pretty cool.
So let's have you descend down to about 2,000 feet on this heading. So bring your power back to about 1,700. I'll put your carb heat on for you.
Oh wow, you really noticed the carb heat RPM drop.
Yep. I just had a new carbureted heat box put in because the last one was slipping quite a bit, like you see in the other plane, and then I wound up it was kind of stuck open all the time, so I had to put a new one in back about 3 months ago.
I'm gonna push the rudders a little to feel it.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, go for it.
Got it. Oh yeah. Wow, it's very stable. Very stable.
And it's pretty calm out today, but when it's windy, it will kind of wobble around quite a bit.
Gotcha.
But on days like this, it's just absolutely, very peaceful.
Wow.
Let's level off here, 2,300. Just kind of add your power back in to about 2,200 RPM, just like you would in the Piper Warrior. I'll turn your carb heat off, and you're going to get some more power there, so you can bring that power back just a little bit. So we have a lot of moisture in the air today.
Yeah.
And it's probably over 70, but even above 70, you can still get carb icing.
It would be quite the experience to instruct a student from back here. Mainly because you don't have a lot of your visual references. It's a lot of feeling.
Yeah. Watch your altitude. Add some power back. A little bit of power. Yeah. Now when you're flying it enough, you kind of hear the engine. You can kind of see the sight picture. The big part is coming in for the landings on tail wheels. There's no being yawed and stuff like that. If you are, you're going to get a ground loop.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I want somebody in the front seat that knows what they're doing for me to get in the back seat.
100%.
So that if I screw it up trying to land it with him in the front, he can recover for me.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and turn left to a heading of 090. I think this way you get to see gunstock ski area here at my belt maps. And you are climbing, so just kind of push your nose down and just gently push down, but it can take time drifting back down. So that's the parking lot at Gunstock Ski Area.
Oh, cool.
And as we come down here, you'll be able to see more of the trails.
Oh, nice. What's our heading? Oh, our heading's...
You're 107 now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. You can stay there. I just wanted to get a nice shot. So
Clear and plate drop.
Oh, cool. What's our altitude? Are we climbing? Or
no, you're staying steady now. You're about
Okay.
3,800. You see, if this attitude, if you keep these kind of whiskers right in the middle, then you won't climb or descend.
So that's a good sight picture to have.
Yeah, yes.
About the top of your GPS on the horizon.
Right off our nose is Rattlesnake Island. If you can see it out there, the long island with kind of like a protrusion coming out.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Flex area, White Cessna maneuvering 1,500, just over the...
I don't know if you can see it, but the Atlantic Ocean is right out there. If you look, you can kind of see
You're
a
gonna
slight
like it up here
difference.
today, Brent. That looks like
It's
it's
like a
cool,
sliver,
huh?
and that's the ocean,
Yeah.
kind of a slight gray sliver. On a nicer sunny day, it just shines.
Especially over the water.
How close we are to the ocean.
Yeah,
wow.
I bet.
Yeah, even at 3,000 feet, you can easily see it. And again, that's Ossipee Lake right there. And just to the north, west of it, literally on the shore of the lake, is Windsock Village, Ossipee Airport. That one is 4,000 feet long.
And is that part of Lake Winnipesaukee as well?
Nope, that's its own separate lake.
This lake to our right here.
Oh no, that's separate. That's Wentworth Lake. I'm sure it kind of drains.
Lake.
I'm sure it kind of drains in. The lake way out in the distance is Squam Lake.
Winnisquam.
No, Squam.
Oh, Squam Lake.
Yeah, Squam. Winnisquam is that way.
Got it.
All right, so gonna pretty soon start coming in for the 45. So why don't you bring your power back to 1700? I'm gonna put your carb heat on.
So we're gonna enter the downwind leg
Yeah,
of runway 8.
So short, half stop final 06 for Banner pickup.
We're gonna enter the 45 for left downwind. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, about 3 miles to the east inbound for runway 8, Laconia. All right, let's go ahead and enter the 45. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, entering the 45 for left downwind, runway 8, Laconia. All right, let's do a slight turn to the right. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo on the left downwind, runway 8, Laconia.
Line up at that island.
Yep. So when it comes to high wing planes, like a Cub or a Skyhawk, you want the runway to be about halfway up the strut. So just come a little bit closer, I would say. A little bit low, just pull
How's
back.
our altitude?
Just climb a little bit more, about 100 feet more. And at some point I'll take over here, maybe midfield.
Got it.
Probably do 2 landings. So very much like we do in the Warriors. We're going to bring our power to 15. Well, today probably 1500 with you in here. Carb heat I'm going to turn on, which I already had left on. First notch of flaps. Once I get to 85. And it's a little bit different in this plane. I'll be more toward 70 miles per hour here for most of this. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, turning left base, runway 8 for a stop and go, Laconia. The plane wants to turn left, so I'm practically doing no left rudder here. You can see the ball centered. Still a little bit fast, but I have more weight today, so I'm going to keep a little bit more speed.
Now, do you notice a difference with me in the back?
Yeah, definitely.
Laconia traffic to Charlie Alpha, doing a right here drop left downwind for runway 8.
Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, turning final runway 8 for a stop and go, Laconia. Now what I do, once I turn final, I'm going to put the carb heat back off so I have all the power I need if I need to do a go around. A little bit fast. Come down here. We're going to see if we can land this.
Laconia traffic, Baron 71 Victor, about 3 miles to the northwest, entering the 45 for runway 8, Laconia.
Pin it. I pin the tail here, if you will. See how that can get out if you're really not careful. You got to really slow down. I don't put any brakes on here. Now I'll put some brakes on. I have 3,000 foot of runway. We'll do a short field takeoff.
Wow, very nice. So when you touched down, your tail wheel was not touching until you pinned the wheel set, you said.
Pretty close. I had it almost touching off. It was almost, that's what I would call a 3-pointer. But as I'm losing authority, I'll just pin it so I have more traction and no chance of the rudder getting fishtailed around and putting a lot of weight if you
Laconia
will.
traffic, RV at 92 Charlie Alpha, left base for runway 8, Laconia.
And pin it means out of the
Pulling
ground.
back. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, departing runway 8, closed traffic, Laconia. So I'm going to put my feet on the brakes. I'm going to do like kind of a short field. But what I do is I don't put the flaps in until I get the nose up. And putting the flaps in at this angle gives more drag. So this goes in, flaps go here, and then I can start to climb out.
Laconia traffic, Baron 71 Victor, turning downwind runway 8, Laconia.
Nose over, let the airspeed get up a little bit, and that notch of flaps out and climb out. Because when it's on the tails on the ground, it's like that. If I put the flaps in, it's almost making it like a 90-degree to the wind. So it causes a lot more drag. Now, do you see the ball there? See how far it's out? Step on that ball to keep it centered. The next landing I'll do is more of a wheeled landing where I will land on the main wheels and I'll just keep the stick forward just a tad so we're more horizontal for a lot longer. We come out here, we look to see nobody coming on the 45. I'll start to make my turn. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, turning left downwind runway 8, Laconia. So I'm using the altimeter here, 1550. I've got them both dialed in, and this one reads a little bit different than that one, so that's my one that I'm going to use. I had put a new one in here back about 2 or 3 years ago because the other one that was kind of worn out, so I feel like this I know is the primary legally, so that's what I go off of.
So you're not
Laconia
using the
traffic,
digital
Charlie
one.
Alpha, turning left.
Correct, only more of a
runway
reference.
A
8,
reference,
Laconia.
yeah.
I could tune it down to this one if I wanted to, like I could tune it down to about the 1500 that I'm seeing now.
Gotcha.
Powered about 1500, RB comes on, wait till I'm in the white arc. Not really pulling up, I'm just kind of keeping this, I get a sight picture till I'm in the white arc. First notch of flaps, flaps down, nose down, and then just kind of control it for the speed I want. Let's say 70 miles per hour.
Laconia traffic, Baron 21 Victor is clear of runway
And I'm
8,
using my
Laconia.
primary airspeed indicator to judge that, not this. So when you have crosswinds, that's when you more likely would use a wheeled landing. So that you have a little bit more speed and a little bit more rudder authority to keep the plane lined up on the runway until you're no more rudder authority. Then you just pull it back and you pin it so that you're basically transferred all the way to you're keeping weight on the tail. Let's get that last notch of flaps in. That power out.
Alright, I plugged my mic back in.
All right. Seems to be working good right there. Without the wind.
Yeah, nice and quiet.
Car beat's coming off. So you'll watch here, I'll keep the on the main wheels for a little bit longer. I'm pulling forward on the stick and I'm using my rudder. Hear that squeaking? I'm keeping the tail up longer, until I have no more authority. Then I'll
Laconia
gently
traffic,
pull back.
Charlie Alpha,
Wow.
Pull back and
runway
pin
8,
it.
Laconia.
But if I tried to jump on the brakes right now, I'd probably ground loop it. You could see how quick it could just kind of go on you if you're not on your game.
That's a pretty cool feeling, letting the tail come back down. That's pretty cool. How about for short field landings? You see a lot of short field landing operations
with these guys.
With these
so
planes.
what I could do is I could have pitched the plane for, let's say, 50 miles per hour. So I have a high pitch attitude with a lot of power. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, clear of the runway 8 at Foxtrot, Laconia. Yeah, they come in with a high pitch attitude, but with a lot of power. They can be slower, but their descent rate is much slower coming in.
Gotcha.
One of the videos I might have sent you was on the back of the power curve, and I think I showed some pictures and stuff with the higher pitch attitude. How much power you need, the slower you get.
Got it.
Now, we don't have a lot of wind today, but let's say the wind was coming from in front of us. We would be forward like that on the stick, forward in the direction of the wind, steer into the wind. But you'll notice here, I'm constantly, you'll hear the squeaking, I'm constantly these rudder pedals, because if I don't, the plane can windmill into the, or weather vane I should say, into the direction of the wind, and just get out of control very quickly. So this plane is stopped, you're constantly
Laconia traffic, Malibu 350 Charlie
right
Sierra.
Now rudder,
inbound
right rudder,
on the ILS 8.
now left rudder.
You didn't have to use any brakes there?
No brakes there. I'm not using any brakes here now.
So that's all aerodynamic.
Yep.
Impressive. Well, that was a really cool flight. Thank you, Mark.
No problem. Glad you had a chance to get up in it. I hadn't flown it in 3 weeks. I just felt like I got to get out here and fly today.